Views expressed in the videos are my observation, analysis of events, persons based on principles of astrology. It's not my intent to predict, forecast absolute outcomes, only suggest how they may unfold. Nothing is set in stone. I could be wrong, but often I'm right. My desire is not to promote fear, only inform about what we see unfolding. It is our wish to prepare our subscribers for events that could affect them, their family, their goals, and their future, to help to prepare for what you may already suspect is happening, and to send a warning shot across the bow and raise a flag of concern. Our goal is to help, not hinder, in these perilous times, to inspire and offer possible direction, and to reveal that a greater plan and purpose are behind all that is happening. Eventually, we will see a brighter day. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work on these videos or this channel, and also the Knowing Whispers channel, you can always click on the word thanks at the bottom of all the videos. Hello everybody, it's Robert Cosmar of the Astrology of Life YouTube channel, and also the Wisdom, oh boy, I have trouble with that, Wisdom for Those Awakening channel as well. Also, the Substack platform Knowing Whispers Messages from the Universe, Trump in America, and also Deep Thoughts Beyond Logic and Reasoning. And finally, also for the weekly broadcast of Astrology and Consciousness Support Group, which is now being held every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And as I have said over and over again, that particular hour is to offer support and encouragement for those of you that are finding it challenging to deal with the oppressive energy that is being increasing, or that is building as a result of the assault by the Trump administration on almost every aspect of our economy, our government, the whole nine yards. So if you're looking for a place where you can find like-hearted souls that are also dealing with this energy, and you want to find ways to deal with it yourself, I want to invite you to be a part of that every Saturday at this point from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called the Astrology and Consciousness Support Forum. Okay, now the title of this particular video is going to be called Trump, Resistance is Futile. And if you haven't had a chance to keep up with what is going on, the all-out assault upon the structures of the government, the economy, the foundation upon which 250 years has built, is under assault by Elon Musk and also by Donald Trump. And the belief by some is that this is going to be, it's going to build to a point of a massive constitutional crisis, because the belief is that Trump and Musk want to totally destroy the Constitution and to build things the way they see it ought to be, the way they want to do it, okay? And the fear, obviously, of most of humanity is the fact that they will accomplish it, and the result of that would be absolutely devastating for those individuals that, in their eyesight, don't seem to be of value to their purposes and plans down the future. So I'm going to investigate a little bit here, two periods in particular, or a period of time, beginning this spring. Now, if you're in the area of my age, I'm 73, maybe you're a little younger than that, let's say 70 to 73, or 73 to 75. You are dealing with Saturn opposing your natal Saturn, okay? Or you could have gone through Neptune opposing your natal Saturn. And as I've mentioned this over and over again at different times in the community section or in the videos themselves, this is a a period of time where the foundation that you have built up, your belief structure, the things you're doing, the things that you invest your energy into and that you believe very strongly in, you reach a point where all of that comes into question. And you can feel like the universe has dumped you, abandoned you. You don't have the inclination, the desire, the motivation, the sense of focus to do those things that you have been doing maybe for the last 7 to 14 years, which is how Saturn will aspect your natal Saturn. It does a conjunction every 28 years, which means in about 10 to 14 years, it's going to do an opposition, and then it'll do a square in half of that of 7 years. So it's a very important time because you feel so certain about what you're doing, how you're doing it, what you feel you should be doing it, and then all of a sudden it's like your feet get knocked out from underneath of you. So if you're going through that type of feeling, okay, like the purpose and meaning of your life seemingly has come to a halt, there is an astrological explanation for that. Okay, and there also is a remedy for that, all right, in regards to how do you deal with that and what does that mean? Why is that happening? And these are some of the things that we get into in my Knowing Whispers Messages from the Universe on Substack. We talk about this. And then also in this weekly support group that we started here a couple of weeks ago, where we talk about what is the psychological spiritual changes that are happening. Why is it that everything seems to be becoming unglued? Okay, what is its purpose? What is its meaning? And how do we deal with that? All right. And this platform, this live stream, gives people an opportunity to share those thoughts and feelings, those fears, those anxieties. All right. And then along with others that are there in the group and myself, we try to offer an explanation and also how you may deal with and understand what it is that's happening. Okay. Now, Donald Trump is moving right ahead. And of course, there are some judges that have started to halt his attempt to do what he wants to do with whatever group he wants to do it to. And this situation, no doubt, between now and let's say February and the month of April, will probably continue. But it looks like here in the month of March, you can see here where Pluto sesquiquadrates Uranus. Okay, there's a tight aspect here going on, which is a tense aspect. Saturn squaring his Uranus. Uranus trining Jupiter is really the strongest aspect in his natal horoscope. It's his good luck charm. And then Saturn squares the North Node. Saturn squares the Moon. Saturn squares the Sun. Okay? A blockage. Something at that particular time blocks what he's trying to accomplish. And the belief is that this is probably the judicial branch that is holding up what it is that Musk and that Trump want to accomplish. Okay? So this is going to be a very frustrating time for him. All right? He's not a very patient man, obviously. He wants to believe that he can just steamroll everything, go to the point of eliminating the Constitution, make himself king for life, and then decide how he wants things to be in the country, where he wants the money to go. Okay? And of course, all of this is creating a massive amount of fear and stress and anxiety, okay, in the country. It's like we're seeing the entire structure of our country dissolving in front of our very eyes, and by a man that essentially most people, not all, would agree that he is a very extremely unethical and immoral human being, and that he cares very little for those that don't have some kind of benefit to him. Okay? If you don't have some kind of benefit to him, he would just as soon probably ignore the fact that you exist. Okay? So it is very intense. Very tense. All right? Now, another thing that's going to be going on, primarily beginning in the month of April, and I'm going to show you a different chart here. Okay? All right. What this is here, this is the chart of the United States of America. These are the transits that are going to be going on in April. And what I feel is that this particular chart is showing the development of those things that I just talked about. Okay? In other words, what do we expect? What should we expect? Okay? And I think I mentioned here a little bit ago, those of you that are going through this Saturn opposing your natal Saturn type of aspect and stuff, this spring is going to be very eventful in the life of people, period. But also, particularly of my age, your age, most of you are in the area of, let's say, 55 to 75, but some that are younger and a few that are older than that. But there are big changes coming, not only on the physical level, but also, you might say, on the spiritual level. Okay, we talk about in the support group that I run each week that the universe is attempting, okay, to awaken humanity to a different view of life, a different focus and a different purpose of life. Okay, and at this point, is anybody's guess how much of a leash the universe is going to put on Donald Trump. Okay, a lot of it has to do when it feels that its purpose is over, when it's done what it had to do to be able to get people to see what's going on, and do they want their life and the life of their children and grandchildren to be a part of something like that. Okay, and then of course the dilemma is when something like this is happening and fear is building and anger is building and hatred is building, okay, there has to be some kind of a event or a circumstance that either releases that pressure or that manifests that pressure. And what I'm talking about here is violence. Okay? This situation, as it is, as it moves forward, as long as Donald Trump has the leash to do these things, is going to eventually arrive at a point, a breaking point, so to speak, okay, where those who are prepared, those who are destined, are going to further awaken and embrace a new reality, a new sense of things. And this awakening at its full blossoming could be the future of America and the world, could be something that stops what's going on in America, along with other factors that could enter into it. Okay, in regards to what the universe has in store for Donald Trump after that. But April here is important for two reasons, and even beyond April into May. You'll notice over here that at April, Mars, which is fueling, okay, all of these financial efforts on Trump. If you'll remember from the video that I did, I think the last maybe couple of videos, I talked about that in Trump's chart, Mars is in his 8th house, okay? And that this also, or at that time it'll be in the 8th house, it is something which fuels all of these efforts, okay, financially, all right? And I didn't have the video here that I guess that probably would have made this a little simpler for you. If you put Trump's chart, his natal chart, into this chart, the chart of the United States, you'll see that Pluto and Saturn fall in here, in the 8th house of other people's money. And that Mars, at this time, you can see here in April, okay, it's at 27 degrees of Cancer. Okay, so this explains why all this energy. Now, in April, primarily around April the 11th, Mars is going to oppose the natal, okay, Pluto in the chart of the United States of America, in the houses that deal with other people's money. Transformation, okay, in that particular area, fueled by that Mars. Kind of an attack, so to speak, okay, brought into that particular area, most likely by Donald Trump. But it's also an aspect where a lot of times violence can occur. And there's something else going on here that could cause this thing to get a little more inflamed. You'll notice down here that by transit, Eris, okay, um, the the planet that is not really a planet, but it's close. It represents strife and discord. It's squaring both Pluto and also Mars. All right, so this is a very volatile time. This is a very painful time. Okay, this is a time where people get aroused, inflamed, emotional. Okay, demanding, egos get inflamed. A lot of things are said and done that are not necessarily the wisest thing in the world. Okay, here you can see that at that particular time, Neptune has gone into Aries. And then in the USA chart, okay, you can see down here that the nadir is just about, I think, maybe 1.5 degrees of Aries. Okay, and Mars is going to follow. And I've told or said this several times down here. Neptune going into the 4th house, regardless of whether it's already has or it will, because we don't know for sure whether or not the United States the Declaration of Independence was signed at 5:10 p.m. All right. This is a particular period of time with Neptune in the 4th house, where like right now, people are having that feeling of the rug being pulled out from underneath of them. They're feeling like what the hell's happening? What are we going to do? Okay, these are all the effects of Neptune. It's where your belief structure is challenged by external events of a crisis nature, and you feel like you feel abandoned. You feel uncertain. You feel anxiety. You feel doubt. You feel fear. Okay, but it also offers the opportunity to discover within ourselves different ways of doing things that may be more beneficial to all of humanity and not just a select few. Saturn going into there pretty soon after that would also indicate a new view of things, a new way of doing things, a new way of building another foundation of some kind. So all of this is going to be a process that takes considerable time. Neptune will be in that house maybe for 6-7 years. Saturn goes into a house for about 2 years. Okay, it won't be horrible the entire time, and there may be other aspects in here that I'm not talking about that could mitigate some of the severity. But again, this is a very tender time because Mars is also going to oppose itself eventually when it goes into Leo, probably within maybe a month or two after that. So a very intense period here. Okay, possibly a period of conflict. At this particular point, I think most people would agree that they're wondering and scratching their heads, what's the Democratic Party going to do? It's like they don't know what to do. It's like they've lost their leadership. Okay, there are a few voices here and there that are speaking out, but none of them really has the force and the power and the vision as to how to counteract this. Now, again, I need to say this from now on every time I do a video, because when I do these videos talking about the hardships relative to Donald Trump and what he is doing, I need to make my listeners aware of the fact that Donald Trump, okay, you have to be careful about using the word evil. And I'll tell you why, okay? From the standpoint of the universe, there is no good and evil. There is simply consciousness that is either rising to a higher level, which encompasses freedom, or there is also a dark side to it that is going in a different direction that takes away freedom. Okay, so it's more correct to say that Donald Trump is an agent of that darker energy, self-centered, egotistical, narcissistic energy. But that particular energy also serves a purpose. It's like a reset button. Okay? And if that helps some of you not to hate him, that's good. Okay? Because while all of these changes that you feel are uncomfortable, all right, they're also happening for a purpose, so that you will look deep within inside of yourself and you'll ask yourself, why am I afraid? Why do I feel like my whole world is falling apart? Okay? And this can be, for a lot of people, and most likely it will be, a major turning point in their life and in the life of America in general. Okay? I wished it was easier to say how long this is going to last. I really don't know. Okay? There's so much going on at any given point in the process of U.S. events, world events, different individuals like Elon Musk being thrown into the pie. It's really challenging to be able to keep a focus, okay, and to be able to, talk about exactly what's happening at a given point in time. So, again, try to bear with me. As I've mentioned before, at times it's very difficult to do these videos because I feel the same way that you do. Okay, I feel at times, that feeling of anger, that feeling of I could hate, but I also understand and know that to give way to that type of thing is not the answer. It certainly doesn't help me, and it won't help you. Okay, we have to look at this whole thing in a more universal way, that all of these things are happening for a specific purpose, that is to benefit the future evolution of life. Okay, not that necessarily Donald Trump will end up becoming king of the USA, this type of thing, even though it may be very obvious that that's what they're trying to do. Okay, we don't know. As I mentioned over in the other channel, and also on the support group, your biggest, I won't call it an enemy in a way, because on a positive side, imagination is very helpful when it comes to creating things, in life. But when it comes to unsubstantiated information, particularly most of the stuff that comes through network news, the imagination that creates is not helpful, because it just gets you all fired up. And you don't know what the intention is behind those particular companies that are broadcasting that. Okay, you don't know that. Much of the stuff that we see and hear, unfortunately, is just designed to try to create fear, to cause some kind of reaction, to see to it that somebody does something. Okay, and we just don't know. This is where you have to trust that what is going on, even though it might be painful, okay, is something which is ordained by the universe, allowing it to occur for a purpose that in the long run is going to be for the betterment of humanity, okay, and all of us. But that doesn't mean it won't be difficult or painful. Okay, I think I accomplished what I wanted to do with this video today, was to show you that, Trump is going to get some pushback, probably in February and March, more of a pushback, probably from the judicial system. Okay, how long it'll last is anybody's guess. All right. Apparently, in an interview the other day, J.D. Vance, when they were talking to him about this, he said basically, don't worry about it, because the White House is not going to comply with all of these judges, orders regarding what they can and cannot do, where they can and cannot go, because at this point, Trump doesn't care. All right. So this is kind of what, like I said, what we're dealing with. And no doubt it will become a situation at the level that is going on, where there will be a confrontation between, okay, who has more power, the judicial branch or the executive branch? And I believe George Conway pointed something out, which is interesting too, as I was looking at an article this morning. Apparently, the only branch of the Department of Justice that could enforce a judicial order is the U.S. Marshals, and they kind of fall under the ownership, so to speak. I guess that's a bad word for it, of the executive branch, would include the president. All right, so any attempt to enforce those orders would probably be fruitless. And of course, all of this ultimately creates a problem and a crisis as to whether or not the articles of the Constitution are going to be followed or whether or not they're going to be thrown out the door, which would be another level, another severe level of unfortunate circumstances. Okay? Again, keep in mind, I think I'm finished for today. Keep in mind that on Saturdays from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing live stream. And at present, I'm doing it on YouTube and Facebook. But I look to incorporate X or Twitter and also LinkedIn. Okay, I'm still having to work out some bugs and talk to the tech support people of the software that I use to try to get that done. So if you would like to be a part of a support group, okay, we would love to have you join us and to share your own feelings. Again, that particular group is not only to discuss the political circumstances reflected in the astrology, but to talk about the process of awakening and awareness and of how to consciously deal with the oppressed feeling. Okay. One of the things that CJ and I have noticed, I don't know whether or not the rest of you had this experience or not, but along with this situation globally, nationally, where we see Trump and Musk doing all this stuff, it's almost like the day-to-day aspect of your life has become more disruptive. We have had more problems with our computers over the last 2 to 3 weeks than we have had in a long time. And I'm talking about network issues, the whole 9 yards, computer problems, and just being able to, go through the day-to-day functions of things. It was it was almost like some kind of a cosmic joke, but it wasn't funny. So if you've been going through that, that's a part of the energy of what's going on the level of our government. Okay, not much fun, but it is something that we have to deal with. Okay, for those of you that are donators, those of you that subscribe, again, thank you so much. It is appreciated. For those of you that are members, okay, have been with me all these years, almost 8 years now, thank you so much. Those of you that comment, those of you that become a part of the live stream, all right, the success, if you want to call it that, of the live stream is dependent upon the involvement of those of you that join us on Saturday or maybe on sometimes Sunday from 10 to 11. Okay, this is a place for you to express your voice, to share your feelings, to assist in the process of helping others to understand what you're going through and what we're all going through. So, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that we need your support to continue to do what it is that we do, whether it's doing the videos like this or it's doing a live stream, which primarily the live stream is going to be my major focus of the videos, because as I mentioned before, trying to do videos once or twice a week about situations and circumstances astrologically that are painful is not something that I consider to be all that healthy for all of us. I think what needs to be done more than anything is what we're doing in the live stream on Saturdays, to talk about these things. What's going on, yes, astrologically, but what is it that you feel, and what is it you need to do to be able to deal with that feeling? That is what really is needed I see from now on going into the future. Until this situation begins to manifest in terms of a massive change of some kind, it's keeping in touch, being able to talk about these things, being able to share insights, being able to share, knowledge about awakening. This is where we need to go. Okay. And as I said earlier, the charts will be key. They'll be helpful, and we can discuss those things as well. But it's important that we stay connected, no matter what happens. Okay, from the love of my life, CJ, my spiritual partner, my best friend, we thank you again for your support, and we look forward to sharing what we get from our guidance and the universe, and hopefully that'll be something that will be of help to you as well. Thank you for watching.